Good morning / afternoon / evening, everybody. I am SouthPawRacer, back once again with yet another new series. I love starting new series. Have you noticed? I'm coming to you from another area of my property where I've set up this nice spread with some plastic parts made from molds and what looks to be a Porsche 934. That's right. I've gotten a couple of scale models, and I'm planning to do a bit of a vloggy sort of series where I paint them and put them together. The first, of course, is obviously the 934, and also a Red Bull Racing RB6 Formula 1 car. And I didn't actually realize this until the day after I got these. One is sponsored by Jägermeister, the other is sponsored by Red Bull, so it's kind of like an automotive Jaeger bomb or something. But enough talk. What I plan to do is document my process painting and building this Porsche, and we'll see what comes of it. It'll be like James May's The Reassembler, but more Australian and less interesting. So, first things first, we start with the body. Now, you might think that this is a bit redundant, and you might be right, but I'm painting over the orange-coloured plastic body shell with the orange paint. Number one, because the instructions tell me to. Most likely because this is a slightly different shade of orange than the orange in the paint bottle. And you might also notice that I am using a brush for this job. I don't have any spray cans, and I also don't have any compressed air, so currently not on the cards for me, this fancy fandangle spraying that people seem to like to do with their scale models. But another reason that I'm doing it is because I actually prefer painting models with brushes rather than with spray and compressed air and stuff like that. I don't know why. I feel like it's there's a bit more of a tactile feel for me. I actually prefer that when it comes to painting the car. I don't want to get all pseudo-philosophical, but I don't know. To me, it sort of seems like I get a bit of a deeper appreciation for the model that I'm working with, and I get a bit of a deeper connection. Sounds a bit wanky, doesn't it? I mean, I don't get too precious about leaving marks of brushes on my models. It's just a sign of my handiwork, I suppose, for the future. When I look back on this model on my display shelf and think, yeah, I had a fun time painting that one. From my research, the Porsche 934 was apparently Alan Moffat raced this to a championship title in the Australian Sports Car Championship in 1980. It was also the same title was also won in the hands of a different driver the year before. Don't know where that came from. So I thought about doing this car in the style of Moffat's with the red livery that it ran, but I decided against it. Lumped it in the too hard basket. A little bit of smoothing over needed, but other than that, it looks like the body is pretty much done. Now next up I move on to the undercarriage, which Tamiya insists that you also paint orange for some reason. I'm going to do it. I suppose the actual color of the undertray doesn't matter all that much. Somehow I highly doubt I'll be able to find any reference images of 934s with their undercarriage showing in order to make an informed judgment. Unfortunately, that was the easiest part. Now I've got to paint all the tiny components. I'm going to have to refer back to ye old instruction manual for those. Hey, look, It's a lighting change. It's the morning after. I got tired and went to bed. Alright, that seems to be it. So I'm going to start with X11 first, which is chrome silver. First part to be painted is these box things. I think this might be the brake duct up here at the front of the chassis. Now, compared to other model kits that I've collected over the years, this one is slightly less complicated in that it doesn't have a fully assemblable engine. It just has this part here sticking out from under the rear of the car, which in my case I think is good because it allows me to complete the model a bit quicker. But then, you know, it's a bit 50-50. I actually quite like assembling the engine, seeing all the internal workings, making sure that everything looks just right inside. Alright, so that's the bulk of the engine block done. Now I just got to move on to the little hub things on the brake discs. One thing that I can never get over is just how intricate a process this is. Like, at this point I can afford to have the colour sort of spill over into other areas because I haven't painted much else of these particular parts right now. But at the same time, you know, being precise is better than anything. Alright, that's it for colour XF16. Oh wait, shit. No it isn't. Aha! The gear stick. I'm a fair bit shakier than I was this time yesterday, and I'm not entirely sure why. So, my steady hand might suffer a bit today. Now, we get to a very tricky part, and that is lining the windows with the gloss black. This is my concentrating face. You know what, I'm not going to focus too hard on getting this one super right. Just going to paint what I can, and then just touch up around it. That seems like the best course of action at the moment. Okay, so now that the windows are done, I am going to move on to the skirts and these little areas, because they need to be painted black as well. I'm going to get in nice and close for this one. I don't even know what these are. Are they just like bits of trim or something? A mystery for another time, or a bit of Wikipedia research, or someone correcting me in the comments. I don't know. Any mistakes here can be for touch-up job number 1563. Now let's move on to one of the way more difficult jobs. I've got to paint around that. Oh my god. This is not going to end well, this one. Come on, can you actually, like, get off the end of the brush, please? That's one side. Oh, no. This is looking pretty substandard right now. Then a wild voiceover appeared. The final part of my webcam recording was corrupted. Amazing. Fantastic. So I'm just speaking over the B-roll now. Basically, after the mother of all touch-up jobs on the body, I moved on to the final components, which are the fragile photo-etched parts. Basically, the radiators, some of the grills, and the tow hook, the buckle thingies that hold down the hood and the boot. Also interesting to note that the tow hook is the only instance of red paint being used on the entire model. so that's interesting. In the next episode of this scale modeling vlog, I will chronicle my application of the decals to everything on the model. It's going to be tricky work and it'll require a lot of close-up footage and very precise hand movements. I hope you can join me for that, and then later on I will begin the build process. So that concludes this first episode of the scale modeling vlog and my final video of 2017. Thank you so much to all of the new subscribers to my channel. Huge shout out to you. My channel's just gone off in this last quarter of the year, so it's fantastic to see you all coming on board. Welcome, and 2018 is going to be a fantastic year if the end of this year is anything to go by. Hope you can join me for future installments. I'm SouthPawRacer, I'm a sim racer. I make videos about that and other stuff, and I will see you at the first corner. Goodbye.